Welcome back to Art with Miss Sampson. This week we're going to work on adding shading to your drawings. You'll see a couple examples of student works where they've used a range of values. Value means the lightness or darkness of tones or colors in art. Value is added by shading. Shading means adding a range of values to create an illusion of depth in a drawing. When we look at objects in the real world, it's easy to see the illusion of depth. It looks like this object is sitting in front of a wall on top of a wooden surface. But when it's time for us to draw, it can be hard to know which areas need to be darker and which areas need to be lighter to create that illusion. We'll work on shading today. This lesson will help you practice shading with a range of values. The first thing you'll need to do is gather supplies. You need a pencil and some sort of a blending material, and an eraser could be useful. Before we begin drawing objects, we're going to create a value scale. If you've done this before, don't worry, it's always great to practice your shading. You'll draw a rectangle with 5 boxes. Label them 1 through 5. 5 is going to be your darkest color. Take your pencil. It can be any kind of a pencil, but if you have artist pencils, use a softer pencil like a 5B or a 6B for this square. Shade the square until it's nice and dark, and then move to the next square, number 4. That one's a little bit lighter. Number 3 is a little bit lighter still. Number 2 is very faint, and we'll leave 1 blank so that we have a contrast of white. Spend a little bit of time getting your tones the way you'd like them to be so that each is noticeably different from the next. Keep adjusting your pencil tone until you like the way it looks. Go over the pencil tone in different directions to fill in empty spaces, and then grab a blending tool. I'm using a Q-tip here because that's something easy to find and it works well to blend color. You can also just use your finger. That works well, although you'll notice that your fingers get dirty pretty quickly. As you blend, you can also continue to add pencil tone. You're trying to get these tones nice and smooth and even. Keep working between drawing with pencil and blending. If your house has plenty of toilet paper, you can even use toilet paper as a blending tool, or a paper towel. This value scale looks pretty good. Now I'd like you to try a second one below the first one. Do the same thing. Draw a rectangle, divide it into boxes. Start shading. Finish blending your second scale, label it 1 through 5, and now you've gotten some good practice at recognizing different values. To get ready for shading objects in real life where you don't divide them into boxes, let's practice making a gradual value scale. Make a rectangle, much like the first two, and label the numbers, but don't draw any lines to create boxes. Your goal with this value scale is to start with a dark tone at one end and work gradually toward that white at the other end, making sure that each tone is a little bit lighter than the next. You'll work at balancing your values just like you did before. Take your time, draw in different directions. You'll notice that I draw with the side of my pencil and not the tip. I find that that works better if I'm trying to blend my tones. Keep working with your pencil and your blending material back and forth until your value scale looks the way you like it. You'll see that I have 3 value scales I've created. Your goal for this first assignment is to create 3 value scales. For your second assignment this week, you're going to choose something that you find in your home or outside your home and draw it using shading. Choose an object that has nice contrast between lights and darks. Either sit near the object, bring the object inside, or take a photo of the object. You're going to start by looking at your value scale. You can draw on the same piece of paper as your value scale or on a separate piece of paper, but create a frame for your drawing. The goal for this assignment is to practice shading, not drawing. So don't spend a lot of time drawing the object. Draw something that generally looks like what you're trying to draw, but don't spend a lot of time getting every part of your drawing perfect. You can see that I'm doing a quick sketch of those iris plants that I found in my front yard. The drawing's not great, but it will give me a space to practice my shading. We'll work more on drawing in future lessons, but for this lesson, do a quick sketch so that you're capturing the main parts of your drawing. Once you have a drawing that you can use, look at the original object you're trying to draw and look at your value scale and draw numbers indicating the values that you see. This is going to take a little bit of observation because you might be translating from color to black and white. So really look at that photograph and notice where the very dark tones are, the medium tones, and the light tones, and label with numbers. Once you have all the areas labeled with numbers to match your value scale, start shading. During this process, make sure you're looking at your object or looking at your photograph the whole time you're drawing. Drawing is equal parts observation and drawing, so make sure you're looking at that original quite a bit. Just like when you created your value scales, you'll go back and forth between using your pencil and using your blending material. And remember, you can blend with just about anything. Some people use blending stumps that you might buy in an art store, but Q-tips, cotton balls, paper towels, toilet papers, your finger, all of those things work just fine. Continue adding values until you feel you've captured the whole range of values that you see in your original object. Once you feel your drawing has a full range of values, from that very, very light number 1 all the way up to the very dark number 5, take a photograph of your drawing and turn it into Google Classroom.